very important in terms of growing fruits and grains for the whole Soviet Union.
Mm-hmm.
There are regions like eastern Ukraine and this zone close to that on the Russian territory that are responsible for supplying, wheat
Mm-hmm.
and other important grains for the whole population.
Mm-hmm.
So they are all pretty much on the same latitude.
What's amazing to me, of course, is that the capital was St. Petersburg for some time, and then of course it was
For a pretty
Moscow.
long time. Yeah.
Yeah. What years was it? What years was it? Was it?
So St. Petersburg, well, it was founded in 1703, right?
Yeah.
And it became a capital. Don't remember the exact date, but I think somewhere like 10 years later after it was founded. You have to remove some trees from there and build a couple of buildings. So yeah, it became a capital in the first part of the first quarter of the 18th century. Yeah, then then the capital was moved to Moscow in 1920 something, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So
So
after the revolution. Yeah, that's what I thought.
after the revolution and
Yeah.
after the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
So the Civil War took place, if I remember correctly, from 1918 till 1923, and in the end of the Civil War, the capital was moved to Moscow.
So big word, I posit, which is basically if you're a scientist, you always say I posit. So I speculate. I posit that.
Can you
Yeah,
spell it for me?
I'll type it up. I posit that. I posit that if Russia were to move their capital to Sochi, then within a few years, the sociology and the way that people do things would change. Within 10 years, you'd see a noticeable difference. There's just so much about the culture that happens to be because of the latitude or whatever it's called. What is it? Fuck. Oh, sorry. Excuse my language. Latitude. Let me see 1 second here.
Mhm.
So I like that you have parallel. Yeah, the longitude. Yeah, the longitude. Yeah.
Well, I don't think it would be a good idea because historically the Caucasus region it was annexed by Russian Empire,
Mm-hmm.
and it was always the problematic zone. If you remember when the Russian Federation showed up instead of the Soviet Union, we had huge problems with Caucasus and with Chechnya and these other regions.
Mm-hmm.
It was the constant war was there. So
Mm-hmm.
the thing how worked there, if the central power of Russia, starts to show any weakness, then Russia immediately gets problems in Caucasus. And historically, Turkey was the competitor of Russian Empire in this region, and the Persian Empire as well.
The Persian.
So
Mm-hmm.
Persian, yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't think it would be very wise to put the capital in this hot pot.
It's just sociologically, a lot of the reason that Russia is the way it is because of that. Well, like for example, everybody here doesn't like. A lot of people here don't have in Moscow. They don't have window coverings. There's a lot of people that are maybe they don't have enough money and stuff, and so
Window coverings, you mean the bars?
like they cover the window like during they cover they cover the light from the window. And I was living my last apartment in 2016. I had my entire window was like open, and it was it was just hell, because I would wake up, because I was a dairy farmer's boy. My dad would like wake up at like before the light. He'd wake up at 4:30 in the morning, right? And so, but I would always wake up. He didn't make us go out with him. I would always wake up when it started to get light. And so I came here, and it was hell.
But window coverings again. You mean it's curtains or what?
Yeah, curtains. Yeah, like special curtains.
Right.
So yeah, and so the entire society is based on the longitude, the longitude of those two cities. Like the way you guys do things is completely based on that. And then I also kind of wonder, like, I wonder how much problems, like psychological problems, Russians have had in the past, because they don't, the belief that you're not supposed to open a window in the winter because it causes, like, drafts cause sickness. So
why? Sorry, I keep the windows slightly opened,
Yeah.
Through the whole winter.
Yeah.
It's pretty hot inside.
So I'm just curious, like, what health effects it has on people to suck in smoke, before gas, and then how much psychological effects it has on people, and also like health effects it has on people to suck in gas all the time, especially
gas from the vehicles, you mean?
From your gas stove, for example.
Well, I don't remember. Well, when I lived in the apartment with the gas, and I lived there for a pretty long time, I don't remember much smelling the gas, and breathing it.
I don't remember smelling the gas very much. I don't.
Smelling the gas very much. I mean,
yeah.
If you have to smell the gas in your apartment, it's definitely time to call the gas technician to find some leaks or whatever.
Yeah, and in Moscow and St. Petersburg, that's easy. I would assume I've only lived in Kolomna, which was excuse my language, it was a shithole. So I lived in Kolomna for a week, and it was much different than Moscow, but that was still the Moscow region. So I can imagine. I've never lived in any other place. The furthest I've been is the furthest I've been is St. Petersburg and Kazan, and that was only for like a few hours in St. Petersburg, just to get to Estonia, and then Kazan, I was there for a couple days trying to find some a KGB school. So I don't really know the real Russia. The real Russia is pretty bad.
Well, I think you can find in many countries, when you're driving a little bit, 100 or so, or a couple of 100 kilometers away from the big cities, you will see the drop in the level of living.
That's the big difference between that now. That's the difference. That even was actually with Yeltsin. Yeltsin was visiting the United States, and he actually went into he just decided to go to any city, and he went to a city, and it was like this, of course, was the 90s, and so it was kind of like a Sean, like a small Sean. Those small Seans they have? Do you guys have a Sean in St. Petersburg?
What is Sean?
A Sean. It's a French.
A Sean?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have several of the Aushans here.
So when Yeltsin went in the 1990s, that was before Walmart took over everything. But Yeltsin actually stopped in at a grocery store, like a small Auchan, with no everything. Like, you know, there's 2 levels in. Is there 2 levels in Moscow or in St. Petersburg? Do you guys have 2 level Ashans or just 1 level Ashans?
We have this. So in Russia, we have the name for that. It's like there is a supermarket, the smaller store, and there is a hypermarket.
Yeah, we call them. Yeah, we have a different name for them. So.
Yeah. So it's just in Russia, it's a hypermarket, and we have at least several of them in St. Petersburg that are basically that have 2 stores.
Mm-hmm.
That they
So
have
it's the
this
same.
elevators where you take your trolley, and on the first store there is all
Your
the
cart.
grocery stuff.
Kongliski
Cart.
cart. Yeah.
Okay. So you take your cart. So on the first store there is all this vegetable, fruits, drinks, and blah blah blah. And on the second store there is some clothes, some appliances.
No. Close. Never closes. Never say closes. It's always close. Like
Close.
you pronounce it just like the word close is close. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I remember this model of selling stuff to people, it was not always here. I think they started to build to open the supermarkets, place where you walk in, get the basket and put stuff in, and then we check out with all the stuff. I think they started to open it probably in the late 90s, maybe early 2000s. Before that, it was the Soviet model.
Yes.
So you walk into the store, and there are several departments where you can buy meat, where you can buy dairy, where you can buy pasta, whatever. And there is the big podium in the center.
There's a
where
big what?
the cash podium, I think.
A podium, yeah, good. Podium, good.
Podium where there is a cash desk and there are a couple of cashiers. So how it works, you walk in, you take your place in the queue, for example, to buy some meat. You wait in the queue, you say, I want this piece of, I don't know, beef, whatever. They take it on the weights, right? They calculate the weight. Then the shop worker who is responsible for this department, they take the piece of paper, put down the price that you have to pay. You take this piece of paper, you go to this podium with a cashier, give it to her, give her the money, and she gives you back the check. Right, there is a receipt, so you go back to that meat department and get your purchase.
Wow.
Then you go to another queue to buy some bread, stand in that queue, repeat the procedure again. So this is super inefficient, and you just spend a lot of time in the shop instead of
in line.
Yeah. And when the supermarket started to open, people like, wow, is it even possible to spend like 20 minutes in the store instead of an hour?
Yeah. So that never existed for me. We always had like supermarkets. We always had, and I remember when I was a child. In the 1980s, you would still measure the how they still in a lot of the markets, even Ashan, you measure everything at the
the weights by yourself.
You do it yourself. Now that stopped in the 1990s in America. It was all like there was cash registers. And so what I was saying was that Yeltsin came to America, and he just decided to go to a tiny town. And this is like a tiny town of 10,000 people, right? Because that's how big my city was. It's 10,000 people. He went to a town in Texas, and he was just like, he almost cried, according to the news reports, because he's like, how can we ever have this kind of wealth in Russia? Because even the smallest town in Russia, in America, has like little Auchan, like like a supermarket Auchan, and then and then of course that was my childhood. I remember like the way it is here now in Russia, in Moscow. Like there's very few Auchans, yes, and there's mostly what we call mom and pop stores. Mom and pop. Pop is dad. Mom and pop stores.
Why do you call it like this?
Because they were usually owned by a mother and father.
Ah, all right.
And so I never knew the way that the Soviets did it was never the way it was in America. You would walk in and it would just be a little store, and there would just be people. This is before my life. I don't remember this at all. But there used to be. They were called mercantile stores. Mercantile, and forget my spelling. Mercantile stores. So the mercantile stores, they actually it was just like a family usually that owned it, and you'd pick what you wanted to buy, and then that you would take it to the cash register. And I assume in the 1940s that stopped. Like in the 1940s they started to have supermarkets, because I don't, like after World War II, because I don't remember that at all. So yeah, so very different.
Well, yeah, that's it's not very efficient from the economical point of view. I mean, so this small store, it has a lot of expenses on logistics, right?
Yes.
So you have to order the delivery all the time, and the price of the delivery is spread across a very small amount of goods, right? And when you talk about supermarkets or Auchan stores, the price for delivery adds the value close to zero for each piece of good.
Exactly. So with now, so the supermarket, the hypermarket you call it, since the 2000s, Walmart has taken over the entire country, and so cities as small as 10,000 people, because the city that I grew up in has a Walmart, and it got a Walmart in the 2000s. So every city in America that has 10,000 people or more has a Walmart. That's both good and bad, because it's good because prices used to be cheap before the wars, the two wars. China and Russia, but it's just it's very fast, and that's when I was having you imagine what it's like to go to America. I was going to have you like step by step really see what it's like to go to America without going to America. So. Because it's very different, and I assume it's changed a lot since I haven't been back for 4 years now. It's just, it's completely different. So,
and it's all changing. Yeah. There's also I think how the how the retail is changing. It somehow shows how the society is changing, because initially the problem of the supermarkets, when they started to pop here and there, it was like people like the Russian, the Soviet culture, it implied it was pretty okay to steal stuff, because people were living in the constant deficit of everything.
In the 1990s or when?
Well, earlier in the Soviet times, I mean, it was a very challenging task to buy something,
exactly,
to get something. you had to find the ways to, get some decent, sausages or cheese or whatever.
Yeah.
Because when you go to the store, they have only pretty much nothing at the,
Yeah.
So you had to know the people, you had to, and by that, people used to, people who were working on the factories or some, production plants of, the food and stuff, they used to steal a lot from their, from the factory.
Yeah.
And, this was, just a part of a culture. I mean, people don't see anything bad in actually stealing stuff from...
Part of the culture. Yeah, part of the culture. Good. Mm-hmm.
Part of the culture. And when the supermarkets started to pop in 90s, people... So there is no border between you and the goods.
Yes.
You just walk to the room and pick anything and put it into the basket.
Yeah.
So what's the difference? You put it into the basket or in the pocket?
Yeah, and that's why security guards are such jerks here. Do you know the word jerks?
And slowly the culture changes. I mean, today, at least in the bigger cities, you can find the self-service cash registers.
Yeah, because everything's monitored. There's cameras. So yeah.
Well, it's not only that, but people started to live better during these past decades. I mean. And there is no need in stealing, chocolate bar, or
Well, in St. Petersburg, do you know if there's an Ashan in other cities or just St. Petersburg and Moscow?
Well, Ashan is not super popular here. I mean, we have here the local monopoly.
Which one?
Or oligopoly. So if you talk about the smaller stores like Pitorechko or Magnit, you can find them in any shithole. I mean, pretty much in the middle of nowhere there will be. And if you talk about, big Lenta or Perekrostek or others, we have a lot of them.
See, but to me, that's like my childhood. Those are not really. Those aren't Walmart. See, that's the thing is like, and that's what I explain to people is like I have these friends of mine, and they say, well, why don't you just go to so and so store and buy the food because it's cheaper? And you say, you don't understand. It's like meditation for me. I need to go and just roll my card around and pretend that I'm not in this country. And it's just like, and I do circles, and I find myself, and if you went to America, you would actually find that people do that. They medicate through shopping, and you'll have these really fat people, and they just wander the store and pick up something to buy, and I have to do the same thing every week, and if I don't do it, I start feeling like I need to meditate that way. That's my way of meditation, if that makes sense. Because that's my America. These magnets and stuff like that, they're still very. That's my childhood. That's 20 years ago. That's 30 years ago. Actually, that's not even my life. I mean, that's when I was little. That was when I was in the 80s, before you were born. That was So yeah. So I hope to God every day. I pray to God that they don't close Ashan, and if they do, that it quickly becomes Russian, but it'll be terrible. The customer service will be so much worse. So.
Yeah. I actually don't go to stores much lately. Thanks to pandemics, the IT started to be a part of this part of life. And there's a lot of services that offer you the goods delivery. And
you do delivery now? Okay.
Yeah, so I use Pitorechko delivery application all the time, and I order stuff from there, and I don't waste my time on visiting the store, and can
And see, that's the thing too. I should add that to my list, because I have a list of of 3 things that Russia is better at than America. And number 1 is actually, I think America may be better at delivery. Absolutely, yeah. America's better at delivery. Russia's close. I don't know about China, but Russia is a close second. America delivery is amazing. Because everybody has cars, it's just amazing. But the bicycles here, I mean, it's pretty amazing. Because you have people deliver things on bicycles, yes? Like Asians and stuff like that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Minorities. Huh. Yeah. So I think the 3 things, and I've mentioned this before, the three things that are better in Russia than in America is transportation, by far. Transportation in America is just terrible. It sucks. Number 2 is...
because people have to buy cars and push the economy.
You must, yes. People live in their cars. There's actually a documentary about that. Number 2 is the banking system. The banking system gets a lot of awards, tons of awards. There's nothing like...
Yeah, I think it's best in the world.
Yeah, it is.
The ease of access to the banking products.
Yeah,
here,
absolutely.
It's tremendous. Yes.
The customer service is absolutely horrendous in the banks, but for me as a non-native Russian or as an American, the customer service and who doesn't speak Russian is terrible. But the banking service are amazing. And then number 3 is the telephone service, the cell service. It's just, it blows my mind how cheap it is and how good it is. And Russia is winning like the technology war because of that. Because Telegram, I mean, there's nothing like that. You know how bad YouTube is and Facebook is for uploading videos compared to Telegram. I mean, my God. And I pay like a phone like this, the service that I have now, I couldn't find it in America, number 1. And number 2, I would probably be paying about $180 to $120, and I'd still have limits on my internet. $100 to $80 to $120 for myself. And it still wouldn't be like it wouldn't be 4G. It would be spotty, it would be bad. And $80, and I don't know how much that is now, but it's so. Yeah,
I have a lot of friends who even canceled their wired internet contracts at their home. Wired.
They're just their home internet. You would say home internet.
They've canceled their home internet because they have their phone and they can share Wi-Fi at home, and enjoy the service at any device, and you don't need to, you have unlimited, so to say, capacity of your internet plan at your phone, and you can watch Netflix and blah blah blah, and you still have enough.
The interest rate keeps changing so much. Yeah, exactly. $80 to rubles, and see, it's killing me now because the exchange rate is just killing me, absolutely killing me.
It's 60 now, right? So $80 is.
Yeah.
So $80 is 4,800 rubles.
So this is 4,000. So $1 to ruble
should be 59 or 60.
Yeah, it keeps changing, and yeah, it's 60 right now. It's very stable. So I was in a campaign call last night until 2 in the morning, and the guy that I'm supporting, they were saying, send me dollars because very soon the dollars aren't going to be worth anything. and so I
don't know now it's euro becoming worthless.
Yeah, and then
you know what happened yesterday? It was the first time ever when €1 was worth less than $1.
Oh, it happened yesterday?
Yeah.
Yes, and there's experts in Ukraine, and on that show that I've sent you a few times, they say that when Ukraine becomes the same, the Russian the Ukrainian hryvnia becomes the same as the American dollar, that basically means that Ukraine is basically a colony of America. It's like there's no difference, because right now America is paying for everything. Like, it's paying the wages, it's paying the soldiers, it's paying everything. So I don't know how much $1 is for hryvnia.
Just checked it out. It's 37 hryvnia for $1.
Yeah.
So way far from parity.
Okay, so how much? What would be parity? It would be okay. So it keeps going up though. So because at last I checked, it was like 30. So, yeah. So if it continues to rise like it is, then it's almost like Ukraine is like Puerto Rico. So, yeah, and I don't really understand economics, and the guy that mentioned this wasn't an economist, but he said that when that happens, that's going to be huge. So, yeah, interesting. So, so how was your weekend?
How was my weekend? Well, so
we did some walk around.
yeah.
We walked around.
Walked around several lakes, had some snacks, and did some swimming. Yeah, with wife, son, and our friends. Yeah.
Good. How many friends? How many families?
No, it's just me, wife, and son, and a couple of our friends.
Okay. Single or married?
Well, somewhere in between.
Yeah, somewhere in between. Yeah. There's always the one guy that's like the last one to be married. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the time he gets married, half of other friends are divorced.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like the race to the top, and there's always one that's left behind. So, yeah, I'm teaching someone right now.
But among my friends, I can recall of only
or I
one.
can recall right now. That would be right. I can recall.
I can recall only one couple that break up. And divorced. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, not so many.
Has everybody else married?
Most of them, yeah.
Yeah.
The vast majority.
Because what happens is once you get married, you forget your. This happens in America. I think it's a little different in Russia, but in America you forget your single friends. So.
No, this definitely you. Start communicating less with them because your life models start to become different.
Exactly.
Especially when children start popping up here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that becomes a little bit more complicated because we have to consider many parts of the equation.
How many of your friends have come back since February?
I think from who have maybe less than half of those who have departed.
Okay, so are they in white Europe, or are they in Georgia, or?
So it's Georgia, it's Armenia, it's Montenegro, it's Serbia, Cyprus. Yeah, all these popular destinations. Some of them are.
Turkish
some
Cyprus?
of them are. Huh?
Turkish Cyprus?
No, normal one.
Yeah. I've heard terrible things about the other one. So yeah. So the Greek one. Okay. So you have some friends that are in the EU, but most of them are in countries that are. So which ones are? Because as an American, it's really hard. I tell people that I know geography despite my education as an American because we don't learn geography at all. So all the countries you mentioned.
Yeah, you guys don't need it. You do the geography.
Well, the only time we learn geography is when we bomb somebody and there's a war. That's how we learn geography, and then we quickly forget where it's at. So
yeah, well, even your presidents confuse Iran and Iraq.
Oh, which one? Biden?
I think it was Trump, and before him it was Obama, who have confused these two countries during their some public speeches.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't recall the exact
I can imagine
when it
Bush.
happened.
Like Bush was like that. Like Bush was an idiot. So
yeah,
so,
exactly.
So yeah.
I think it was during the Trump's it's not sentence, but
Sentence.
during Trump's period, he had some and
not speaking head, talking head.
Talking head.
Yeah.
And when the 2014 did happen, I think someone of American talking heads told that we
that,
will.
No. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Said that we are sending our navy to the borders of Belarus. The problem is that Belarus doesn't have any single water at the border.
Yeah, Belarus. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So he probably meant that one city I can never remember. So yeah, Kaliningrad. So which I was supposed to go to. Yeah, interesting. So yeah, so which cities again? There was like Georgia. There was
Armenia.
Armenia is pro Russia. Yeah. Is Armenia part of? Armenia is not part of. Is Armenia part of the EU?
No, they are not.
Okay, and so
they're on their own, but they are part of the economical border unity between Russia, Belarus, and Armenia.
Cyprus.
So things that are imported in Armenia, they can be moved to Russia or to Belarus without additional border taxes.
Yeah. So what's the name? Okay, Georgia, Armenia, Cyprus. See, I'm learning geography as I go because I know Serbia is very pro Russia.
Yeah, Serbia, Montenegro.
Yeah, Montenegro is pro Russia. Yes. It's not.
I don't think they have done any bright statements.
Well, what I mean by that is stupid spelling. I hate spelling in English. What I mean by that is it's not part of the EU, is it?
I think they are.
Are they? Okay. Oh yeah, is it? I don't know. Montenegro, EU or okay. Okay, so.
Oh, Turkey, of course, Turkey.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So Montenegro, yeah, Montenegro. Oh, and you have friends in Turkey too, of course. Okay, yeah. So yeah, so that's EU. Is it NATO? I think Montenegro is NATO, isn't it? I think so.
Don't track it.
I don't know. NATO. Yeah, Turkey's interesting. If Turkey leaves. Okay, so it's not part. Montenegro is not part of NATO. Not part of NATO.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So everybody says that, like, it'll be just like, what is it called? The countries Norway and Sweden becoming part of NATO's no big deal because they always kind of were, like, unofficially. But Turkey leaving NATO would just be like huge. So it would be just like devastating. So yeah, and it's not, and the thing is that Turkey can still hold up. They can still hold up the Norway and Sweden's. There still has to be a final vote. So so it's kind of funny. So yeah. Anyway, but so do you miss Finland, or because I've never been to Finland, so.
Sorry. Well, yeah, I'd love to visit it and visit it pretty much rather frequently because I like this land. I like the nature. The country itself is very boring. I mean, nothing is happening there. Everybody is living on their own, very calm and silent. But yeah, I love that times when we with friends rented houses there and at some lake in the woods and were hanging out there. Yeah, that was great.
So did I heard that in the city, like I've never what's the capital of Finland again?
Helsinki.
Yeah, Helsinki. I heard in Helsinki they have like because there was a guy that wanted to eventually go to the West, and I've known him since 2016. And he said that like everybody in Helsinki, they have like what is it called? Like they ride bicycles around, and they have like glowing things on their backs or something. Is that true? Like when you were there? So they have like glow in the dark. They wear glow in the dark clothing. Like
yeah, and it's very reasonable.
And see, if you do that in Russia, like people will make fun of you, and because I've done that before. And it was like it before. I mean, people could make laugh of you if you are wearing a helmet when riding a bicycle, but it's changed over the past years, I believe. More and more bicycle riders, they put on the protection and this, glowing stripes and so on. Yeah, the poor people don't. The immigrants don't. So, and then we have tons of like scooters, samokhat, and they're rentals, and nobody wears a helmet. So, yeah. So
yeah, that's true.
In my area, nobody wears a helmet. Like occasionally on the weekend, you'll see like professionals that are rich that have a helmet, but yeah. So yeah. So anyway, yeah. So you had a good weekend, and that's good. So is that both Saturday and Sunday? What you did on Saturday and Sunday?
So it was on Saturday, yeah. After that, we had a kind of party at our home, yeah, having some wine. So not much happening on Sunday. We just had some walk, just a regular walk.
Oh, good. Okay, so like in the park. So yeah. Oh, good.
Nothing special.
Do you know anything? Is there any predictions about the weather?
Well, we have the forecast. Let's see.
Like no, I mean for the winter itself, like because they usually forecast ahead of time, like what the weather's going to be like. I need to look it up myself. Like
I don't think it make much sense to see this weather prediction like months ahead.
They used to do that. There's a book called the Farmer's Almanac. I think it's the same word, almanac. Farmers.
Yeah, we have it. Yeah. I think you've mentioned it at some point.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So forecast weather, winter, Moscow. Let's put Moscow. There's nothing. So, Farmer's Almanac. I don't think they'd have it for for Russia, but I'll look it up. Oh, Moscow, Idaho. That doesn't help at all. That's where I'm from. So that does not help at all. Must have Russia. Hey, I got a question for you. I know you got to leave in a couple minutes. How do you... Yandex sucks. Like, it's so hard for me. How do you search for a word that just, like, it must be in the article. It must be in the article. Because in Google, you put the explanation marks around the word. Is there a way to do that in Yandex?
Probably, but
You don't know? Okay.
I don't do. I use Yandex only for maps, for traffic jams, for weather forecast.
I see.
But I don't use Yandex for Googling because there is Google for that.
Yeah. Well, soon there's gonna be Yandex Google, so they'll probably buy out. They'll probably buy out. It'll look like Google, but it won't. It'll be the Uber equivalent. So anyway, okay, well, good. So we'll see you on Thursday then.
Yeah, on Thursday it is.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll look forward to seeing you then. So
yeah, have a good day.
Have a happy. Do you remember what Wednesday is? It's called. There was a word for it.
Little Friday.
Little Friday. I like that. That's good. We could start trending that. No, it's called Hump Day.
Hump? Why?
Like a hump of a camel. Hump Day.
Ah, I see.
So today is Taco Tuesday in America. For some reason, I don't know why. Because there's a lot of Spanish people. Mondays is I Hate Mondays. Tuesdays is Taco Day. Wednesdays is Hump Day, like a camel. It's the middle of the week. Thursday, no word yet. There's no term for it. And then Friday is TGI Fridays, like the restaurant.
Thanks God it's Friday.
Yeah, thank God it's Friday, exactly. So.
Yeah. In the Soviet times, it was the Fish Thursday, because it was a problem in supplying enough beef, chicken, and other types of meat for the population. And the government motivated people a lot to have fish. And in all the cafes and canteens on Thursdays, they were only fish meals. So it was called, fish.
Fish Thursday. Okay, so Fish Thursday in Soviet Union, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting. Okay, well, this was interesting to talk to you then. Okay, If you have any questions or anything like that, let me know. So we'll look forward to talking to you on Thursday.
Yep, see you. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.